pleasant morning to everyone. I am Kessica Bersamin, C40 CT Advisor to Quezon City.
Good morning. I am Teta Tirona, Head of the Tourism Department of the Quezon City Government. We would like to welcome everybody here at the Novotel attending this climate change action implementation launch this morning. Hello, Kessica.
Hello, Ms. Teta. Good morning, and good morning to everyone who's with here today. So maybe we just please ask everyone to please stand up for the singing of our Philippine National Anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang mag-ibig, tewas ng sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong bagaw, ay tinatang tudlang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nag-iinit, ang bituin at karoon niya kailan pamay di magtitingin. Luman ang araw ng walhating pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya dapat ay mangamin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
You may now sit down.
Again, good morning sa inyong lahat, or magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And we welcome you here at the Climate Action Implementation launch this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to this official launch of the UKAID, or UKAID Climate Action Implementation Program, a collaboration between C40 cities and the local government of Quezon City. The program is part of the Urban Climate Action Program that is being funded by the United Kingdom government. This launch event also features other important technical works that have been done by the Quezon City and the C40 on air quality and clean construction. And to see the full agenda for today's launch, you can actually scan the QR code on the screen. Is it there already, Karsika? Okay, it's there. To access today's schedule.
You can also tag us on your social media posts at C40 Cities on Twitter, C40 Cities on Facebook, and also in Instagram and LinkedIn. So we will be happy to receive your post and your thoughts of today's event. So to formally welcome us in our program, we have Milag San Jose Ballesteros. She serves as the Global South Diversity Lead in the management team, and she is the Regional Director for East, Southeast Asia, and Oceania at C40 Cities. In this role, she is responsible for engaging and supporting C40 member cities, as well as facilitating collaboration across the region to deliver on their ambitious climate commitments. Central to this is working with C40 cities to progress transformative, inclusive, and equitable actions to address climate change. Everyone, let us welcome Milag San Jose Ballesteros.
Magandang umaga po sa lahat. It is really great to be doing this in person. I haven't been home for about 2.5 years, and what better way to actually start and really progress on this launch. Even though during the pandemic we were really very enthused, and I know Quezon City, through the leadership of Mayor Joy Belmonte, was quite energized as well. So even though we were doing things virtually, there was a lot of progress being made in terms of progressing climate actions. Magandang umaga sa lahat. Good morning, Her Excellency Ambassador Bofis, Honorable Mayor Belmonte, esteemed councilors as well, senior city leaders, colleagues, and all. Thank you for joining us here today to celebrate the launch of the Climate Action Implementation Program in Quezon City. This is a partnership between C40 and Quezon City, supported by the UK government. Through the Urban Climate Action Program, or UCAP, as well as we are also here to recognize wider collaboration between C40 cities and Quezon City on air quality improvement and clean construction, among others. Addressing the climate crisis is a critical priority for cities worldwide. Cities create, I think just a reminder to all of us, cities create over 70% of energy-related greenhouse gas emissions, and the pandemic has also revealed stark systemic inequalities, exposed the fragility of our systems, and I think reinforced the urgent need to protect and restore the natural world around us. Cities have been at the front line of this multiple crisis. We're talking about the pandemic, and even before that, there was already a climate emergency being declared by nations as well as local governments, and it didn't stop there. When there was a pandemic, that climate crisis or emergency was happening, and I know with what's happening in the world right now, we are also experiencing deep economic crisis, and cities have been at the front lines of all these crises, and also definitely the climate crisis. And also I think to be reminded that cities are highly vulnerable to the effects of climate change. Very much felt in the region that I work in. You might be hearing what's happening in Seoul right now in terms of the flooding. So Quezon City is not alone in terms of dealing with this. And of course, we've been seeing the heat waves happening in different parts of the world. In terms of this context, cities are not just really, recipients of these impacts, but cities are also diverse and innovative, more nimble and progressive. Cities are where the solutions lie. That is why our cities, particularly C40 cities, of which Quezon City is a part of, are so driven to act. And I think I have to emphasize, act now. In 2018, before the pandemic, Quezon City signed on to C40's Deadline 2020 commitment, a roadmap for cities to achieve carbon neutrality. Since then, C40 and Quezon City have worked closely together in developing a local climate change action plan spanning 2021 to 2050 that aligns with the goals and objectives of the Paris Agreement, and this LCCAP was launched in 2021. So you can imagine we started 2018, 2019, and even in the midst of the pandemic, we were really progressing on defining transformative strategies and actions, and then we were able to launch the LCCAP in 2021. This LCCAP recognizes the urgent need for decisive measures to address climate mitigation and adaptation concerns, particularly for the vulnerable urban communities, setting the high bar in the Philippines for climate action among local governments and I think among different agencies as well. It is now time to turn ambitious plans into action. Every commitment made in those plans or in Quezon City's plan needs to be backed with resources and of course, a whole of city engagement. This partnership between C40 and Quezon City through the UKAID Climate Action Implementation Program as part of the Urban Climate Action Program, or UCAP again, funded by the UK government, announced at COP26, will support the implementation of the bold climate commitments in the Quezon City Climate Action Plan, or LCCAP, turning policy into practice. Through the program, C40 will support Quezon City with critical, comprehensive technical assistance and work on capacity building, focusing on policies and actions that enhance energy efficiency and expand the adoption of renewable energy in buildings or the built environment, whether it's government-owned, commercial, or residential, in line with Quezon City's 2030 commitments or emission reduction targets. In conclusion, I would like to emphasize that cities have the power to change the world. Local government mayors have the ambition and power to deliver their fair share of having emissions. However, they cannot do this alone, thus underscoring the need for collaboration and partnerships. And that's what we would like to emphasize and welcome everyone, whether we're talking about internal stakeholders across city departments. Again, a whole-of-city approach means it's not just the city government. Within the city government, it's the different departments, whether it's in budget, investment, health as well, and community engagement. But when we talk about the whole of city government, cities are not just composed of the city government, but the entire cities and communities. And when we say a whole of city government in terms of delivering the climate action plan, that is at the core of this program. We look forward to continuing these partnerships with Quezon City and the other stakeholders with the support of the UK government in its path to become carbon neutral by 2050, but more importantly, securing a green and just future for its communities and residents. Again, maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo, and it's really great to see everyone here in person. And I wish everyone a fruitful discussion as we move forward on the technical sessions. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat. Thank you.
Thank you for setting the context of our event today, Milag, and also for reminding us that cities are crucial in our ambitious actions in battling climate change. Of course, with the crucial support of our partners and stakeholders.
So we wouldn't want this information to just stay on inside the four walls of this building. Therefore, I think, Jessica, we're now ready to announce that we're live on our Facebook page as well as the YouTube station of the Quezon City government.
That's correct.
So check it out.
So you can share to your friends and your colleagues the Facebook live stream that is happening now at the QC official page. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, I think I'm ready already, Jessica, to introduce our guest of honor for today. She was the former FCDO director for Jordan, Iraq, and Palestine. Before that, she was Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria and head of the mission to Lagos from 2017. She was also responsible for leading the British government's engagement with Nigeria on trade, climate, serious organized crime, and cultural issues in particular. She led her teams working on climate change strategy, adaptation, and forestry while working for the United Kingdom government. Let us all welcome Her Excellency, Ambassador to the Republic of the Philippines and the Republic of Palau, Lor Bufils.
Good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. I hope everyone's well. Mayor Joy Belmonte, Vice Mayor Gian Soto, C40 Regional Director Milag San Jose Ballesteros, dear friends and colleagues from Quezon City Government, from the British Embassy, from civil society, from government, and from business. It's such a pleasure for me to be here today with you. I'm absolutely delighted to join you all for the launch of the UKAID Climate Action Implementation Program in Quezon City. This, in my mind, is a fantastic moment where we demonstrate that we are putting our words into action on climate change, the world's biggest challenge of the 21st century. I've just come back from Europe where I was on leave and where we experienced a significant heat wave. Here, closer to home in the Philippines, Pagasa has noted that rainfall recorded in some parts of the country for the first 7 days of this month alone has already surpassed the highest recorded rainfall in the same month for 40 years. Our climate crisis is inflicting more damage on our planet and its people than even climate scientists had expected. Here in Quezon City, Mayor Joy Belmonte had called a climate emergency, and she is right. But we must never allow this analysis to lead to paralysis. Our responsibility is stronger than ever, and we know that this is the single most important decade for climate action. We must not waste any time and to turn the tide, and we must act now. The UK government is 100% committed to this, and we recognize in particular, as we have just heard from the C40 regional director, that climate action at the subnational level, and in particular at the city level, is a key element of turning the tide. Indeed, according to the UN, cities consume 2/3 of global energy consumption and account for more than 70% of greenhouse gas emissions. The UN also projected that about 68%, or more than 2/3 of the world population, will live in urban areas by 2050. At present, more than 50% of Filipinos are residing in urban areas with an urbanization rate of close to 5%. This growth curve will increase pressure on many urban centers and will continue to expose cities to greater socioeconomic as well as environmental challenges, such as rising temperatures, sea level rise, water shortages, and as we've seen recently in parts of the NCR, flooding. With this rapid urbanization, cities such as Quezon City will have even more critical roles in the climate transition to curb emissions, ensure a green recovery, and safeguard citizens against the severe impacts of climate change. But with this responsibility comes an opportunity to be thought and practice leaders that inspire us, incentivize partners and including the private sector, and indeed nudges actions across society with the private sector, with government, with citizens, with civil society. The UK is aware of this challenge and this opportunity. At COP26, we urge cities across the world to commit to net zero emissions by 2050. And to walk the talk at COP26, the UK government pledged £27.5 million of new funding for the International Climate Finance for the Urban Climate Action Programme, it's quite a mouthful, to support cities across Africa, Asia, and Latin America to implement innovative climate action plans to become carbon neutral by 2050. We are absolutely delighted to have Quezon City as one of the 15 participating cities in this program, which will be implemented in partnership with C40 cities. Quezon City has already developed its local climate action plan last year with support from C40 and the UK government. And I commend the strong commitment to implement the next phase of their climate action priorities, in particular on renewable energy and energy efficiency through UKAID. I should say at this point that, of course, the Quezon City government hasn't waited for this program to already start delivering, and it's done this in many areas across food security, for example, or indeed solarization. But as you all know, the power sector accounts for a quarter of global greenhouse gas emissions. To meet the Paris goals, the global transition to clean power needs to accelerate 4 to 6 times, and global coal emissions need to fall by 80% just this decade. An ambitious transition to clean energy, including through increased adoption of renewable energy alongside greater energy efficiency measures, delivers the most effective route to ensuring climate and energy security and long-term prosperity for all. Renewables are the cleanest and most efficient way of supplying energy. The cost of renewable continues to fall rapidly, unaffected by fossil fuel market volatility that we have seen over the last 6 months. This is transforming energy options, providing new local job opportunities, and already we see that investments in renewables have seen a 367% greater return than fossil fuels over the last decade. IRENA estimates that solar PV alone already creates twice as many jobs as fossil fuels, and that over 24 million people will be employed in the renewable sector by 2030 if we doubled the share of renewables globally. So I am absolutely delighted that this new program will have such a strong emphasis on renewable energy, and in particular solar in Quezon City. Many experts have also said that the cheapest energy is energy that is not used, and that energy efficiency, or reducing energy demand, is the most effective way to reduce carbon emissions. Obviously, energy efficiency measures can lower energy costs and generate savings. But energy efficiency can also bring employment benefits and generate a demand for new skills, which positively impacts the economy. That is why I am so delighted to be able to support Quezon City in implementing its bold vision on energy efficiency and buildings in particular. Quezon City, alongside the other cities of this program, will lead the way, driving down emissions while ensuring resource efficiency, a step in the right direction towards livable and climate-smart cities. In so doing, it will inform and influence the practice of other cities in NCR and the country, and indeed the world. It will inspire the rest of us. It will incentivize the private sector to act differently. It is doing so thanks to this program, but mostly thanks to visionary leadership and strong political will to do the right thing. Indeed, achieving Paris alignment will be a challenging mission for every city, which will entail systematic changes and require collaboration across multiple sectors, including the private sector. This cannot be done without strong leadership, political will, and determination. So I thank Mayor Joy Belmonte and Vice Mayor Soto for their leadership and vision. I look forward to our sustained partnership and commitment to a cleaner, healthier, and smarter future. I wish Quezon City every success towards meeting their ambitious goals, and I thank everyone involved for all the hard work that has gone into taking us where we are today. Once again, maraming salamat, and have a very good day.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Lord Bufis, for that very, very warm and wonderful message for everyone attending this conference. I was asking you earlier at the back, Jessica, if you're a resident of Quezon City, you are, right?
Yes, I'm a resident of Quezon City. I'm just somewhere in Katipunan Avenue.
Okay, so we're both resident of Quezon City. So do you already have your Q Citizens card?
Yes, I actually applied for it during the pandemic because it's you can get it online and you can have access to different services already, which is great.
Having the Q Citizens card also cut a lot of energy for human beings because we don't really have to have the card and bring it over because the Quezon City government also provide it online.
Yes.
And I would like to acknowledge the presence of the person, the brain behind that card, our city administrator, Mr. Michael Alimurong, who joining us this morning. So there you go. We have a lot of firsts in Quezon City. Tell me about the city being the only
Yes,
LGU.
it's the only city in the Philippines who is the member of C40 cities.
There you go. So we have a lot of, in NCR, we have about 16 LGU and 1 municipality, but we are, of course, above the rest by being the only LGU member of the C40 International. Now, I'm ready to, of course, introduce our keynote speaker, and I am very honored to be the person to introduce her. I take pleasure in serving her administration, not just because she's a leader, but also, of course, she's a woman leader. She's recently re-elected as Executive Vice President of the League of Cities of the Philippines. She was awarded as one of the top 10 outstanding mayors of the Philippines by the Gawad Filipino Awards. And prior to this, she served as a vice mayor and presiding officer of the Quezon City Council from 2010 to 2019, where she was also awarded as the most outstanding vice mayor by the Gawad Sulo ng Bayan and 2-time most outstanding city council in the Philippines under her leadership. Quezon City government has garnered numerous prestigious accolades since she took office last July 1st, 2019. I was actually already on board with her when we garnered 2 years of unqualified opinion, the highest audit opinion from the Commission on Audit in 2019 and of course 2020. Being one of the Hall of Fame award for the most competitive, highly urbanized city in the Philippines in 2019, and being an environmental advocate herself in Quezon City, we have strengthened our commitment to aggressive climate action because of her and by joining other pioneering cities in achieving the goals of Deadline 2020, as mentioned by Her Excellency earlier, aligned with the Paris Agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome the Honorable Mayor, Maria Josefina Belmonte.
To Her Excellency Ambassador Laura Bofis, to C40 Executive Director, Mr. Mark Watts. I understand he isn't present though. To C40 Regional Director for East, Southeast Asia and Oceania, Ms. Milag San Jose Ballesteros. Quezon City Vice Mayor, Honorable Gian Carlos Soto. Honorable Councilor Vito Soto Generoso, Committee Chairman on the Committee of the Environment. My colleagues from the city government, led by our city administrator, Michael Victor Alimburong. Our stakeholders, Manila Water, Maynilad, Meralco, United Architects of the Philippines, Philippine Society of Sanitary Engineers, and all the other distinguished guests who are here. I think we also have partners, Clean Air Asia, eClay, and our companions from the C40. Other distinguished guests and participants, good morning. And good morning, Teta and Kessica. It is my honor and pride to be here today to reaffirm Quezon City's commitment to engendering a healthier planet. Our city has always been at the forefront of an ambitious trajectory for inclusive climate action. As one of the country's most urbanized, populous, and fiscally sound cities, Quezon City is the ideal context for meaningful sustainability initiatives that are calibrated to protect the planet and uplift the lives of our people. It has been almost 2 decades since the city passed the country's very first green building ordinance, prompted by the desire of the city's leadership then to contribute more to caring for our planet. This will soon be enhanced into a local building code to improve energy efficiency as part of the priorities of the Climate Action Implementation Program we are launching today. When I took office in mid-2019, the city government made a conscious and deliberate effort to address global issues from a local vantage point. Among these, our 14-point agenda of governance stressed the need to build a livable, sustainable, and climate-resilient city amid the growing body of evidence indicative of a planet at risk. In support of this goal, our City Council, led by Vice Mayor Soto, immediately passed a resolution declaring a climate emergency that prioritized resource mobilization for climate change mitigation and adaptation. We also saw the need to be advocates and activists in pursuit of our objectives. This resulted in our having the distinction of being the only local government in the country to have created a department that is primarily and exclusively dedicated to achieving climate justice through the institutionalization of climate action across different local government agencies down to our barangays, communities, and households. Our Climate Change and Environmental Sustainability Department, ably led by Ms. Andrea Villaroman, ensures a strong and sustained vertical and horizontal collaboration to streamline and synchronize efforts on environmental protection and climate action. To arrest the worsening climate crisis as disclosed by empirical data, we made a clarion call, all hands on deck. Indeed, the time to act is not now, in fact, it was yesterday. At this point, let me share with you some of the initiatives we have undertaken and are currently undertaking to address climate change and environmental stress. In order to reduce disruptive and destructive greenhouse gas emissions, we took to promoting active transport. By mid-2025, we would have developed a cumulative total of 350 kilometers of bike lanes across the breadth and width of our city, along with the pedestrianization of our growth centers to maximize the co-benefits of active mobility. In order to achieve our mitigation targets, we are moving swiftly towards a circular economy, prioritizing organic, paper, and plastic waste recovery, and targeting at least 50% waste diversion from our landfills. We are also aggressively working to reduce our plastic waste, which includes a ban on plastic bags, single-use plastics, and disposable materials. Our solarization projects are also underway, and this year, we are solarizing our 3 city-owned hospitals. We also intend to solarize 100% of all viable school buildings and key government infrastructure. These efforts will be accompanied by energy efficiency and conservation measures to reduce our consumption of water and electricity, among others, as mentioned to us earlier by Her Excellency Laura Bofis. Expanding the adoption of renewable energy, as was mentioned by our good ambassador, is also among the priorities of the Climate Action Implementation Program we are launching today. As a signatory to the Clean Air Cities Declaration and the Breathe Life campaign, we are also committed to improving our air quality to meet the air quality guidelines values of the World Health Organization by 2030. In 2021, Quezon City completed its air quality management plan roadmap, and from only 8 air quality monitoring sensors, we now have 20 monitoring devices that serve as our sources of data in crafting strategic interventions for improved air quality. We dream of a healthy planet inhabited by healthy people. Ensuring a sufficient local supply of fresh produce is integral to our adaptation strategies. We now actively promote and incentivize healthy diets and healthy public food procurement. With a robust nutrition policy in place, I have made a commitment through an executive order that, and I quote, "no public funds will be spent on unhealthy food." Prompted by a nutritionally poor and income-challenged pandemic environment, we expanded our urban agriculture program to provide accessible and healthy sources of food for our people and livelihood opportunities for the unemployed. To date, we have established more than 300 urban farms across the city with partners from various sectors, including the church, civic organizations, national government agencies, academic institutions, and local communities. An active citizenry makes for a healthy city. At present, community and neighborhood open spaces are now being transformed into green corridor networks that adopt a nature-based solution to reduce heat and drought. We have opened a 5.39-kilometer pedestrian corridor that links major roads, transport hubs, and commercial districts, allowing interconnectivity and encouraging more people to walk and enjoy adjacent pocket parks developed from idle lots. And many more shall be developed in the years and months to come. Flood mitigation is also being strengthened through a multi-pronged approach that includes clearing waterways of obstructions, the resettlement of those living along creeks and tributaries through in-city socialized housing projects, and improved solid waste management efforts. A drainage master plan meant to comprehensively address flooding in the city is likewise nearing completion. Up-to-date forecasting and pre-disaster risk assessment add to our resiliency initiatives. Last year, the city government approved and adopted the Enhanced Local Climate Change Action Plan from 2021 to 2050, or the Enhanced LCCAP. This sets out a strategic framework and a roadmap to further build climate resilience, advance green economic development, and re-engineer a livable and sustainable community for all. Supported by science and informed by the needs expressed by our citizens, the Enhanced LCCAP is Quezon City's stronger and greener response to the twin threats of climate change and the COVID-19 pandemic. We know what we want and we know how to get there. In the process of pursuing these goals, it is paramount that we are able to deliver the fruits of our labor to all our constituents, regardless of their age, gender, ethnicity, and socioeconomic class. We have opted to scrap unsustainable business-as-usual practices towards a staunch determination to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 30% in 2030. Beyond this, we have also committed to pursuing net zero emissions by 2050. In terms of adaptation, our enhanced LCCAP intends to transform our citizens into environmental frontliners, to take progressive action, and to strengthen the resilience of natural ecosystems and communities against the palpable risks and threats brought about by a changing climate. All of these are aligned with the goals of the Paris Agreement and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the 7 pillars of our National Climate Change Action Plan. As we build from within, we recognize that our journey towards sustainability would not have been possible without the support and technical assistance of the UK government and the C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group. We are extremely grateful to you for enabling us to take these crucial and significant first steps that will eventually bring us to our cumulative goals and communal goals. Our partnership has allowed us to collect important scientific evidence and to share as well as learn global best practices with cities and experts from all over the world. We have worked with C40 on various initiatives pertaining to renewable energy, air quality, green buildings, clean construction, energy efficiency, waste reduction, and food security, among others. Working with one another has made us stronger and more focused on what we have to achieve. Indeed, our collective consciousness is the force that will drive us to overcome the challenges of a changing planet. This morning, as we launch the Climate Action Implementation Program, focusing on 2 priority actions contained in our enhanced LCCAP, we mark another milestone in accelerating the city's climate actions. Again, we express our deepest gratitude to the UK government, represented here by Her Excellency Ambassador Laure Beaufils, for funding this technical assistance program, and to C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group for choosing Quezon City as a beneficiary. I know we are your favorite. We commit to doubling our efforts in mobilizing the 3 million strong climate frontliners of Quezon City towards good environmental stewardship, even as all of them shall be recipients of our efforts' inclusive rewards. We have strategically placed them at the front and center of everything that we do. This morning, I vow on behalf of the people of Quezon City to deliver the climate targets in our enhanced LCCAP. We will lead by example. We will earn our place as a model for other cities to emulate. We will exert all efforts to help bring forth a far better planet than the one we were born into, for future generations to enjoy long after we are gone. Again, thank you and mabuhay tayong lahat. Marami pong salamat.
Thank you for your continuous commitment, Mayor Joy. Indeed, you are one of our favorite cities. In fact, we always say that Quezon City is a rock star in terms of climate change and resilience in the region. Okay, so again, thank you for your continuous commitment and in pioneering climate actions to have livable and sustainable cities. We do hope that more women climate leaders like you rise up to the challenge of acting now against climate change. So our next guest of honor, who will be showing his support to our program, is a former 3-term councillor for the 3rd District of Quezon City. He chaired the Committee on Parks and Environment Protection, where he authored an ordinance prohibiting the use of plastic and styrofoam in Quezon City offices and its facilities, and he also authored an ordinance instituting environmental protection and the waste management code. Good governance is his style and service, and he knows that Filipinos deserve to have a good life. He visualizes that Filipino families to be living comfortable lives in a safe and secure environment. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the Vice Mayor of Quezon City, Honorable Gian Soto.
Thank you. To Her Excellency Ambassador Lar Bufis, to our Honorable Mayor Joy Belmonte, City Councilor, Chairman of Committee on Environment Vito Soto Generoso, our City Administrator Mike Alimurong, C4 Executive Director Mr. Mark Watts, C40 Regional Director for East, Southeast Asia and Oceania, Ms. Melag San Jose Ballesteros, and to all distinguished guests, a blessed day to everyone. The Quezon City government, headed by our dearest Mayor Joy Belmonte, has been dedicated in developing programs that provide a long-term effect on helping and sustaining our environment while improving the lives of our constituents. It is a well-known fact that we are the only city member coming from the Philippines in the C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group. Hence, we take pride as a pioneer member of the C40 in the Philippines. The Quezon City Council, alongside with the Quezon City Executive Department, have been formulating policies and crafting measures that are vital in the protection and preservation of the environment, such as pollution control and maintenance of a balanced and healthy place for the Q citizens to live in. With much honor and in our capacity as the presiding officer of the 22nd City Council, we are strongly supporting the UKAID's Climate Change Action Implementation Program and the C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group. We will remain committed in our goal to serve and preserve our environment through the passage of new legislative measures that are responsive and relevant to the welfare of the people and the environment, our environment. We firmly believe that we need stronger interventions in our fight against the threat of climate change, and we sincerely hope that this initiative will be an inspiration to other cities to support this environmental cause and become active partners for change. Thank you, and may God bless you all.
Thank you, Mayor Gian Soto. And we are looking forward to working with the Legislative Department of the Quezon City Government in pushing forward for the priority actions of the Climate Action Implementation Program in Quezon City. Okay. So for our next part of the program, it will be a video of our Executive Director of C40 Cities, to introduce us to the Climate Action Implementation Program. Mark Watts has served as the Executive Director for C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group since December 2013. And prior to joining C40, Mark was the director of a consultancy firm, ARUP, and he was on the Energy and Climate Change team. He was the Climate Change Sustainable Transport Advisor to the Mayor of London, in which his role, the London Evening Standard, described him as the intellectual force behind Ken Livingstone's drive to make London a leading light of the battle against global warming. Here is a video message of Mark to provide us an overview of the UKAID Climate Action Implementation Program.
The world is facing multiple converging crises, and the action we take now will determine the future of our communities, our cities, and indeed the ecosystems upon which all human life depends. Climate breakdown, obviously, but also now coupled with the cost of living crisis, along with the ongoing impacts of a global pandemic, require an unprecedented and coordinated response. C40 mayors are a powerful force for global leadership, especially when working with allies, which is why I'm so delighted to celebrate the launch of this new funding from the UK government that will enable us to put plans into action and deliver cleaner cities, create new economic opportunities for residents, and improve cities' ability to deal with the impacts of the climate crisis. Partnering with the UK government to deliver this new programme will provide invaluable support to 15 C40 member cities in the Global South to help them map out the road to a green and a just recovery. The Climate Action Implementation Programme in Africa, Latin America and Southeast Asia will support this cohort of cities to deliver their climate action plans that set out how they will reduce their greenhouse gas emissions according to their 1.5 degree development pathways, helping to halve global emissions by 2030 and then to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. This programme will support the implementation of 2 high-impact actions from each city's climate action plans, as well as supporting the mainstream of climate considerations throughout the city's systems, processes, policies, and of course, spending. So I'm looking forward to following up this fruitful partnership with these C40 cities to implement their climate action plans, from low-carbon infrastructure projects to low-emission public transport systems, renewable energy generation, sustainable waste management, and new climate-smart building codes. Accelerating these projects will be vital to mitigate the impacts of global heating and help each city secure a better future for their nearly 54 million residents. I've no doubt that in a few short years, by 2025, this programme will have delivered real-world change and will inspire others to do the same.
There you go, the special message, of course, from Mr. Mark Watts, Executive Director of C40. Now, I think, is the level supposed to show that? Okay, for the next slide. You can scan the QR code once again. It's being shown on screen to know more about the Climate Change Action Implementation Program of C40 Cities and UKAID. Come over here, my co-host.
Again, you can tag us on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram and LinkedIn. Just type C40 Cities for your post, your comments, or your thoughts on our program for today.
Okay, thank you very much, Jessica. Now, to introduce 2 speakers for our next activity, they will be giving us a deeper context on the Climate Action Implementation Program in our city, Quezon City. We have with us 2 of my colleagues, the Acting Assistant Department Head of the Climate Change, Environment, and Sustainability Department, Mr. Vincent Vinarao, along with a person with 2 degrees, Attorney and Engineer Mark Dale Diamond Peral, the officer in charge, I don't know how you do it, Dale, of the Department of the Building Official. They will be presenting the 2 priority actions and activities, as well as introducing the members of the technical working group who will be part of the program implementation. Let's all welcome on the floor Attorney Engineer Mark Dale Diamond Peral and Vincent Vinarao.
Good day, everyone. We are tasked this morning to briefly present the identified priority actions of Quezon City for the UKAID Climate Action Implementation Program. Considering that the energy and building sector contributes to the largest greenhouse gas emissions, which is equivalent to 60% of the total city emissions, there is a huge potential and opportunity from these sectors to significantly contribute to the city's climate agenda. For this reason, the priority actions identified in the program are focused on scaling up the utilization of renewable energy and amending the city's green building code. One of the priority actions aims to expand and promote the adoption of renewable energy among the private and residential building owners, while the city also increase its uptake through the various solarization projects that it will showcase across city-owned buildings and facilities. This is aligned with Strategy 9 of the Enhanced Local Climate Change Action Plan, which focuses on securing clean and affordable renewable energy access. Activities for this action include the conduct of energy baseline assessment of selected buildings for solarization, development of a framework for measuring and monitoring energy usage and generation, as well as crafting of financing schemes to encourage the different sectors to transition to renewable energy source. The creation of a renewable energy roadmap for Quezon City will also be completed to reflect the pathway, strategies, and policies leading to this transition. For the next two slides, Attorney Dale will discuss the amendment of the Green Building Code or the local Green Building Code.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Under strategy number 8 of the Quezon City Enhanced Local Climate Change Action Plan targets a transition towards green, energy efficient and resilient buildings for other priority action under the program. Amending the city's Green Building Code presents opportunities to raise minimum energy efficiency requirements, integrate design and engineering interventions on climate resiliency, and integrate engineering interventions for increase in rate and compliance towards a robust green building code. The city's Green Building Code will be harmonized with various national laws and regulations and local ordinances. A certification process, a streamlined one, will also be developed aligned with the national policies. For this, a comprehensive mapping will be conducted along with the stakeholder consultations. Incentive schemes will likewise be crafted to increase uptake and compliance. The output from other works and engagements with C40, such as the Clean Construction Technical Assistance, will also complement these activities. Our main objective here is to successfully implement a responsive and transformative green building code as the city pursues carbon neutrality. The Quezon City government will lead the way as we are now integrating green building features in city-owned buildings and facilities. Cost-benefit analysis will also be conducted for buildings to demonstrate the various benefits of transitioning into a green building. The support for this program will continue up until implementation, monitoring, assessment phase to ensure that we will achieve our goal. Next slide, please. The implementation of the program will be a collaborative effort between C40 cities and the relevant city departments and offices. Now, I would like to request the heads of the following departments and offices who will be primarily working with these priority actions. Please stand and be recognized. Of course, our boss, our City Administrator, Michael Victor Alimurong, sir. Our City Architect Department, our City Planning Development Department, our City Engineering Department, General Services Department, our Disaster Risk Reduction Management Office, and of course, Sir J of Investment Affairs Office. MC.
Hello? Okay. Thank you, Attorney Dale, and we are very excited to support and assist the Quezon City government in its ambitious activities on energy and building that is outlined in your Enhanced Local Climate Change Action Plan. And as the city advisor of C40 to Quezon City, I'm very much looking forward to meeting the members of our technical working group who will be implementing the program with us in the next 4 years. So again, thank you very much for the full support of the Quezon City government. Indeed, this is a whole of city government approach and whole of society approach because we have our partners here from the private sector, for the non-government organizations. So we are really excited for this program. So now that we have heard, Ms. Teta, what the Quezon City together with C40 plans to do in our 4-year program as part of its commitment to reaching its climate goals by 2030, may we ask our representatives from the local government of Quezon City, the British Embassy Manila, and C40 cities to come up on stage and sign our commitment statement to the Climate Action Implementation Program of Quezon City.
May we now invite the Honorable Ambassador, Her Excellency Lor Bufis, the Honorable Mayor Joy Belmonte, the Honorable Vice Mayor Gian Soto, Ms. Milag San Jose Ballesteros, to come up on stage and sign the commitment poster, which reads, "We commit to reduce carbon emissions through the promotion of energy efficiency, green building compliance, and renewable energy in Quezon City." Isn't this a very exciting, one of the exciting part, Kesica, to be signing their commitment on this poster, which will show that everybody is in full cooperation so that this project can take off completely 100% by the year
2025. Miss
2025.
Daga. Yeah.
We would also like to thank, of course, our partners. Our projects in Quezon City wouldn't be, successfully taking off without the help of our media friends. Maraming salamat po for covering this on behalf of Quezon City Government and C40. Again, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat at maraming salamat sa inyong pagsama sa launching na ito.
Thank you. And please, to our guests, may you please stay on the stage, and may we also invite the members of the technical working group and our partners from the British Embassy Manila and C40 to come up, to be in front, to come in front and post with our guests of honors, together with the C40 Pledge of Commitment.
The TWG team will have to be, on the ground, not on the stage, right here in front of the stage. Thank you. You will be led by our usherettes. The TWG team will be joining the group. There you go. We have here with us the Ambassador, Her Excellency Lor Bufis, the Honorable Mayor Joy Belmonte, Honorable Vice Mayor Gian Soto, Ms. Milag San Jose Ballesteros with us right now, along with the members of the Technical Working Group, and of course, a member of our City Council, Councilor Soto. This group commit to reduce carbon emissions through the promotion of energy efficiency, green building compliance, and renewable energy in Quezon City. thank you to our honorable guests and dear partners for showing your full commitment to the implementation of these ambitious climate actions of our city government. This concludes the first part of our launch event of the Climate Action Implementation Program in Quezon City. The next half of the program will be presentations on the technical reports on air quality and clean construction, as well as the stakeholder engagement workshop. We will take a 15 minutes break to take out snacks and refreshments. We will see you again after this break. Maraming salamat po.